Good morning. It is August 11th. I'm Adam Bernard with AutoPerspectives, and it is time once again for a news roundup. We are heading into Woodward Dream Cruise Week here in Michigan. For those not familiar, it celebrates Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America, and is the largest single automotive event in the world, and that'll be happening next Saturday. So we do have something a little relevant to that a little later in today's episode. Let's start with something rather exotic, kind of fun to talk about, the Bugatti's Solitaire move. This is the Bugatti Brouillard. It is a one-off vehicle, hence the term Solitaire, which refers to Bugatti's new program. It's based on the outgoing Maserati Mistral, which is no longer in production, and it does carry over the 1,578 horsepower quad turbo W16 engine, and that's because the upcoming Bugatti, the Tourbillon, hasn't actually started production yet. So the Solitaire program is able to build up to 2 vehicles annually from an existing chassis and an existing powertrain. And by that, they mean it'll be a 2-seater. You won't see an SUV. You won't see, a V12 because Bugatti doesn't make one of those, but you will see variants of existing Bugatti hardware. This will be similar to Bentley's Mulliner division, which created the Batour and the Bacalar limited editions. They built anywhere from 12 to 18 variants of those, or the bespoke arm of Rolls-Royce, which did the 20 million pound drop tail. But again, with the Solitaire, the notion is that you would create one of one. This particular vehicle was named after the company founder at Ettore Bugatti's favorite horse. So there is a horse theme running throughout the entire vehicle. Mr. Bugatti loved his horse so much they actually developed a spring-loaded barn door mechanism that the horse was able to easily open with its nose. So definitely a valued member of the family. The Brouillard was created in about 18 months. The lights and the glass are from the Mistral, but everything else that you see on the outside of the vehicle is new. It is a carbon fiber structure with carbon fiber body panels. And from this view, you can see the roof-mounted matte black machined aluminum air intakes, which are pretty slick looking. There's also a panoramic glass roof, and at the rear, stacked exhaust pipes. The interior is a little less unique. A lot of it is carried over from the Mistral, including the carbon fiber center console, but you can see that it's quite colorful. You see the custom woven plaid fabric, the green tinted carbon fiber trim, and yes, the upholstery is actually made with real horsehair, again, contributing to the horse theme. The gear shifter that you see in the upper right is machined from a single block of aluminum with a glass insert that contains a miniature handcrafted sculpture of Ettore's horse. The rumored price for the Brouillard is about $10 million. Could be more, could be less. We'll never know for sure. Only the buyer knows that. And Bugatti notes that designing a one-off requires the same amount of engineering, research, and testing, development, and tooling that would go into making a series of cars. So yes, this is a fully street-legal vehicle. And if you do actually get a chance to see it one of these days, you'll consider yourself very, very lucky. We will shift gears to the Buick Electra Orbit. I kind of like this personally. This is a full-size sedan concept that was designed in China as part of the launch of the Electra sub-brand. So Buick announced last year bringing the Electra name back from the 60s, 70s, and 80s as a new energy brand, unfortunately only for China. So it looks like at the moment we won't be seeing any of these vehicles in the US. The Electra Orbit has kind of a strong 50s and 60s design influence. A number of media have mentioned references to the Citroen DS. You can see that in kind of the profile and the silhouette. Up front, I would say, if I didn't tell you it was a Buick, it's a little hard to tell. There's not a clearly identifiable Buick face. Of course, the logo is there in the middle. It does have some kind of cool triple lighting elements on either side. And if you think of the old Buick Riviera Silver Arrow concept in the 60s, there's a bit of a tie-in to that. As you can see, it does have a very aggressive fastback profile. And again, another bit of an homage to Buick is the boat tail rear end, which might bring to mind the boat tail Rivieras of the early 1970s. If you look online, you'll see some photos with the doors open. It actually has scissor doors front and rear because it's a concept. Sure, why not? It's similar to the Lamborghini Portofino concept from nearly 40 years ago. And again, it does emphasize the fact that this vehicle, to the best of our knowledge, is not intended for production, but may influence some future Buicks. Inside, you got plenty of room for 4 people, full width display up front. You have the very trendy oblong steering wheel because round steering wheels are so passé. There's a floating center console, and you can see a divided rear compartment to be very, very comfortable. Cool feature, which does not get a lot of explanation in the press release, is the holographic globe that appears to float above the center of the IP. That may be some sort of interface with an onboard avatar. We don't know. Not entirely dissimilar to Nomi, the personal assistant that NIO uses in their vehicles. Again, not intended for production, kind of promoting the visibility of the Electra sub-brand, and may influence some future Buicks. At the very least, I'd love to get a diecast model of this for my office. And we will finish up with the Dodge Charger Sixpack. You have probably been following in the press the saga of the Dodge Charger Daytona, which got off, unfortunately, from a sales standpoint, not a performance standpoint, to a rather slow start. And when the tariffs kicked in on vehicles built in Canada, which the Charger is, Stellantis realized that the Charger Daytona RT, which is the entry-level EV, was no longer financially viable. So at the moment, the only Charger Daytona you can get is the Scat Pack, which is the high-end variant. But they have promised us since the original unveiling of the Charger that we would see an internal combustion variant of this vehicle, and this is it. And the Sixpack brings another name back from Dodge from the 60s. In this case, we're referring to the 6 cylinders of the Hurricane inline-6 twin-turbo engine. So the Sixpack will launch in Q4, $52,000 for the standard 420 horsepower RT, and $57,000 for the high-output 550 horsepower Scat Pack variant. Both of these will also come with only an 8-speed automatic, so if you're hoping for a stick shift, sorry to disappoint. The Scat Pack will hit 60 miles an hour in about 3.9 seconds. That compares to 3.3 seconds for the Daytona Scat Pack, so the EV, even though it is heavier, still has more power, more torque, and better acceleration. You see the 2-door in the front, the 4-door in the back. The 4-door will cost you an extra $2,000 across the board. The 2-door essentially replaces the old Challenger. And yes, it does sound more expensive, but remember that the outgoing rear drive Challenger with the standard width body started at about $9,000 less. When you added a high performance motor and all-wheel drive and the wide body, that kind of gets you to where the Charger Sixpack starts at $52,000. Also worth noting that the Challenger Scat Pack had a 485 horsepower, 6.4 liter Hemi, but it was also about 500 pounds lighter and less roomy. So there are some trade-offs involved here. This does seem to be a decent value if you are looking for a larger internal combustion vehicle. They do note there is a push-button control to switch this from all-wheel drive to rear drive, and it is visually identical to the Charger Daytonas that are out there, with the exception of the R-wing up front, which is the little spoiler integrated in the front end. It has a more conventional layout, but you still get the 60s influence look front and rear. The $64,000 question at the end of the press conference was, will there be more powerful Chargers? Because there have been many, many rumors, especially with the reintroduction of the Hemi back into the full-size Ram trucks. Dodge's CEO said, quote, "We're just getting started. I'll let you come up here and take a look and get your tape measure out. But don't be surprised if it would fit." So initially, Dodge seemed to be reluctant to admit that a Hemi would fit into the new Charger, and it's possible that some additional engineering work under the new CEO has kind of pushed this through. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to come back in a month or so and see what the order bank looks like for the Charger Sixpack and what the order bank looks like for the Daytona, and whether or not this drives down the sales of the Daytona even further. So we will have to wait and see. And that brings us to the end of a somewhat shorter than usual episode of Auto Perspectives. If you like what you saw and what you heard, please subscribe and share. And if you want to learn more about Auto Perspectives and check out our blog, please visit us at autoperspectives.net. Thanks very much.